The content you are about to hear may be graphic.
Ready, baby? I recorded that part.
Ready when you are.
That's a hint, you guys.
What? It's already started?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yay.
Woman! Why are you gonna catch me off guard like that? Usually you ask me if I'm ready, and then I say,
I did
maybe.
before it started. I said, ready, Freddie? You're like, ready or something. So I pushed it and I said it again. Are you ready, Freddie?
You're so mean to me.
Alright.
She's so mean to me, guys.
The difference between Freddie and almost all of the other rock stars was that he was selling the voice. His technique was astonishing. No problem of tempo. He sang with an incisive sense of rhyme. His vocal placement was very good, and he was able to glide effortlessly from a register to another. He also had a great musicality. His phrasing was subtle, delicate, and sweet, or energetic and slamming. He was able to find the right coloring or expressive nuance for each word. Spanish soprano Monastrate Cabela spoke about Freddie Mercury after they recorded an album.
Montserrat.
That's right. Come on.
No.
God.
Bite it. Mercury was born Farrokh Bulsara in Stone Town in the British Protectorate of Zanzibar, now part of Tanzania, on September 5th, 1946.
That's right, you guys were doing Freddie Mercury in case you didn't get it.
Who is
my favorite, too.
The best. And was the front runner for Queen.
Of course. And this is going to be a lot of hard names sometimes.
We may butcher some shit, sorry.
Sorry, Freddie, we love you.
We do, we really do. Now I know I said his name right because I've watched interviews.
That's a hard name, too. His parents, Bami and Jar Bulsara, were oh goodness, Parsis from the Gujarat region of the Bombay Presidency province in British India, and had origins in the city of Valsad and Gujarat. I should have had you read that one.
Oh, like I would have done any better on those particular words.
Which I didn't know there was a British India.
Oh, yeah.
Until, like, later.
Oh, yeah. His parents, that's you. I'm green, right?
Yes.
They had moved to Zanzibar so that Bami could continue his job as a cashier at the British Colonial Office.
Where was that?
Right there.
Okay.
Parsis.
The Bulsara family practiced the Zoroastrian religion.
And it's Bulsara. Zoroastrian. Yeah. Something like that. Anyway. We already said we were going to butcher shit, so... Whoops.
Sorry.
He was born with 4 supernumerary incisors to which he attributed his enhanced vocal range. Oh, that's interesting.
As Zanzibar was a British protectorate until 1963, Mercury was born as a British citizen. He remained so throughout his life.
Yeah. Mercury had a younger sister, Kashmira Bulsara, now based in Nottingham, who took her husband's surname after marrying Roger Cook.
Mercury spent most of his childhood in India, where he began taking piano lessons at the age of 7 while living with relatives.
In 1954, at the age of 8, Mercury was sent to study at St. Peter's School, a British-style boarding school for boys in... I'm gonna butcher this again here. Panchgani, near Bombay. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but sorry.
Panchgani.
That's what I said.
I was just... At the age of 12, he formed a school band, the Hectics, and covered rock and roll artists such as Cliff Richard and Little Richard.
He would do Little Richard.
Can you imagine Freddie's Little Richard?
One of Mercury's former bandmates from the Hectics has said the only music he listened to and played was Western pop music. A friend from the time recalls that he had an uncanny ability to listen to the radio and replay what he heard on the piano. That's... what do they call that? Prodigy?
Uh-huh.
That's a prodigy right there.
Although Mercury's speaking voice naturally fell in the baritone range, he delivered most songs in the tenor range. His known vocal range extended from bass, which is a low F, to F2, to soprano, high F to F6. He could belt up to tenor, high F to F5. Biographer David Brett described his voice as escalating within a few bars from a deep, throaty rock growl to tender, vibrant tenor. Then on the high-pitched, perfect coloratura, pure crystalline in the upper reaches.
The man could go from way, way, way down low to way, way, way up high like it was
Soprano
nothing.
to bass, basically.
Like it was nothing. And that's like perfect pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't he have perfect pitch?
His vocals were out of this world.
He was out of this world. It was also at St. Peter's where he began to call himself Freddie. He also attended St. Mary's School in Mumbai.
Alright, guys. In February 1963, he moved back to Zanzibar, where he joined his parents at their flat.
In 1964, Mercury and his family fled from Zanzibar to escape the violence of the revolution against the Sultan of Zanzibar and his mainly Arab government, in which thousands of ethnic Arabs and Indians were killed. Ooh.
They moved into a small house at 22 Galstone Avenue, Feltham, Middlesex, England.
After studying art at Isleworth Polytechnic in West London, Mercury studied graphic art and design at Ealing Art College, graduating with a diploma in 1969. He later used these skills to design heraldic arms for his band, Queen.
Go Queen! Following graduation, Mercury joined a series of bands and sold second-hand clothing in Kensington Market in London with girlfriend Mary Austin. He also held a job as a baggage handler at Heathrow Airport, which you guys saw in the Bohemian
If you
Rhapsody.
saw the movie. We just recently watched it.
Which, by the way, some of the stuff wasn't completely true about Bohemian Rhapsody.
Friends from the time remember him as a quiet and shy young man with a great interest in music.
In 1969, he joined Liverpool-based band Ibex, later named Wreckage. I like Wreckage better than Ibex. That sounds funny. I-B-E-X.
Yeah.
Ibex.
He briefly lived in a flat above Dovetail Towers, a pub close to Penny Lane.
Well, Penny Lane was...
in Liverpool's Mossley Hill district. Penny Lane. Wasn't that a song that,
Beatles?
was it the Beatles?
I think so. They're from over there. When his band failed to take off, he joined an Oxford-based band called Sour Milk Sea. But by early 1970s, this group had broken up as well. Bitter
Such weird names. In April 1970, Mercury teamed up with guitarist Brian May from Queen and drummer Roger Taylor, also from Queen, to become lead singer of their band, Smile. They were joined by bassist John Deacon, also Queen, in 1971.
Smile was like the start of Queen, remember?
Yes. Queen was better. Sounds better than Smile.
Okay. Despite the reservations of the members and Trident Studios, the band's initial management, Mercury, chose the name Queen. By the new band, he later said, "It's very regal, obviously, and it sounds splendid. It's a strong name, very universal and immediate, and I am certainly aware of the gay connotations, but that was just one facet of it." At about the same time, he allegedly changed his surname, Balsaria.
He legally
Wow, I
changed his
can't
name
read.
from Balsara
Balsara to Mercury.
Yes.
I'm glad he changed his name.
I should just
that's
be reading this whole thing.
I'm leaving the room.
I love you. Shortly before the release of Queen's self-titled first album, Mercury designed the band's logo, known as the Queen Crest.
Oh, I was going to wear my shirt for this video.
I was just thinking we should have worn them. The logo combines the zodiac signs of the 4 band members, 2 lions for Deacon, 2 lions for Deacon and Taylor, sign of Leo, a crab for May, Cancer, and 2 fairies for Mercury, Virgo. What?
Popping my back. Ow!
Jeez, would you stop moving? The lions embrace the stylized letter Q. The crab rests atop the letter with flames rising directly above it. And the fairies are each sheltering below a lion. The crown is shown inside the Q, and the whole logo is overshadowed by an enormous phoenix. The Queen Crest bears a passing resemblance to the royal coat of arms of the United Kingdom, particularly with the lion supporters.
I love phoenixes.
I'm going to get one tattooed on me someday.
In the early 1970s, Mercury had a long-term relationship with Mary Austin, whom he met through guitarist Brian May. He lived with Austin for several years in West Kensington. Kensington. I should know that since... Jesus.
Duh.
Royalty.
By the mid-1970s, he had begun an affair with a male American record executive at Electric Records. Okay, yours actually starts right there. So, in December...
In December 1976, Mercury told Austin of his sexuality, which ended their romantic relationships, which he started out as bi. There's been some controversy about that.
Yeah, people say, oh, he was just gay, you know. Yeah, no. Towards the end of his life, he was with a man, but he was still into women. He just...
Well, he was into one woman, Mary Austin.
I'm just saying, the point is that he liked women and men, not just men.
But he only preferred Mary Austin.
That's not the point.
I know, I'm just saying.
The point is, when you're bi, you're bi. It doesn't matter if it's just one or all of them. Mercury moved out of the flat they shared into 12 Stafford Terrace in Kensington and bought Austin a place of her own nearby.
Excuse me, I burped.
Gross!
They remained close friends through the years, with Mercury often referring to her as his only true love. In 1985 interview, Mercury said of Austin, "All of my lovers asked me why they couldn't replace Mary. But it's simply impossible. The only friend I've got is Mary, and I don't want anybody else. To me, she was my common-law wife. To me, it was marriage. We believe in each other. That's enough for me." He also wrote several songs about Austin, including Love of My Life, which I love that song.
Mercury's final home... Stop it. Flies. Garden Lodge 1, Logan Place, a 28-room George and Manson in Kensington. 28 rooms? Who needs that many rooms?
Well, we want to foster kids, so that'd be kind of great, but
yeah,
Jesus.
Set in a quarter-acre manicured lawn surrounded by a high brick wall, had been picked out by Austin. Mercury was also the godfather of Austin's oldest son, Richard.
During the early to mid 1980s, he was reportedly involved with Barbara Valentin, an Austrian actress who is featured in the video for It's a Hard Life.
In another article, he said Valentin was just a friend. Mercury was dating German restaurateur Winifred Kirschberger during this time. Winfried? Winfried? Are you fried? Because I'm fried.
By 1985, he began another long-term relationship with Irish-born hairdresser Jim Hooton. Hooton, who tested HIV positive in 1990, lived with Mercury for the last 6 years of his life, nursed him during his illness, and was present at his bedside when he died.
I cried for like a week when he died. It was sad.
I was too young.
Hutton said Mercury died wearing the wedding band that Hutton had given him. In his will, Mercury left his London home to Austin rather than Hutton. He had told her, "You would have been my wife, and it would have been yours anyway." Ooh, that's messed up.
Yeah, it was. He didn't leave much for Hutton. Radio DJ Kenny Everett first met Mercury in 1974 when he invited the singer onto his breakfast show on Capital London. As two of Britain's most flamboyant, outrageous, and popular entertainers, they shared most in common and instantly became close friends.
Everett would play a major role in Queen's early success when in 1975, armed with an advanced copy of the single Bohemian Rhapsody, Mercury went to see Everett. While privately Everett doubted any station would play the song due to its length at over 6 minutes, he said nothing to Mercury and placed the song on the turntable, and after hearing it, enthused, "Forget it, it's going to be number one for centuries." Well, he wasn't lying.
And has been.
Bent!
While Capital Radio has not officially accepted the song, the anarchist Everett would talk insistently about a record he had but could not play before the song accidentally started playing, with Everett stating, "Oops, my finger must have slipped." Capital's switchboard was jammed with calls wanting to know when the song was going to be released. On one occasion, Everett aired the song 36 times in one day. Imagine.
That's a lot.
36 times. And that's a 6-minute song. That is a lot.
That's a long time.
And you don't even have, it's a long time.
That's 216 minutes in one day. That is, if you break it down, divide that by 60.
People wonder why we...
That's 3.5 hours of Queen aired time in one day. 3.5 hours. That's a lot.
That's a long time.
Okay, where am I? This one?
Yeah.
During the 1970s, their friendship became closer, with Everett becoming advisor and mentor to Mercury, and Mercury as Everett's confidant. But they never dated. Did they?
Mm-mm.
Mary thought they were dating. Because in the movie they make it seem like they might have, but then they didn't.
They might have slept together, but...
Yeah, but they weren't, each other's type.
They were both flamboyant. Usually two flamboyants don't really become one. That's
not to say it doesn't happen, but usually.
because there's a lot of drama here. Throughout the early to mid 1980s, they continued to explore their homosexuality as well as experimenting in drugs. Although they were never lovers, they did experience London nightlife on a regular basis together.
They were never lovers.
I bet they had a lot of threesomes.
Probably right.
They just never touched.
By 1985, they had fallen out over a disagreement on their using and sharing of drugs, and their friendship was further strained when Everett was outed in the autobiography of his ex-wife, Lady Lee. Mercury took Lee's side.
In 1989, when both were suffering from failing health, Mercury and Everett started talking again, and they were able to reconcile the differences. So before Mercury died, they were friends again.
While some commentators claimed Mercury hid his sexual orientation from the public, others claimed he was openly gay. Of course he was openly gay. Everybody knew he was gay.
Come on.
Well, everybody knew he liked boys.
You don't have to have a title, be like, I'm gay. You just love who you, and you act who you are. Like, just be you.
He was just himself. Who gives a flying F if he was...
And that's one thing he says is, like, I am just me. Like, you don't have to be like, oh,
he actually
I'm
seemed
feminine,
like he was one of those people who didn't really like labels.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter if he liked girls or boys or trans
That's
or
the way
whatever.
I'm at my point in life. It's like, I'm just me.
She loves me, so I don't know what to do.
Most days.
Oh, ha, ha.
In December 1974, when asked directly, so how about being bent by the new musical express, Mercury replied, you're a crafty cow. Let's put it this way. There were times when I was young and green. It's a thing schoolboys go through. I've had my share of schoolboy pranks. I'm not going to elaborate further.
Okay.
You crafty cow. You're gonna have a British accent, aren't you? A crafty cow.
Homosexual acts between adult males over the age of 21 had not been decriminalized in the United Kingdom until 1967, 7 years earlier. During public events in the 1980s, Mercury often kept a distance from his partner, Jim Hutton. The tabloid newspaper The Sun referred to Mercury as a bisexual rock star. In 1986, who had confessed to a string of one-night gay sex affairs.
So that's probably why he said, like, when I was a schoolboy, because it was okay when you were a schoolboy.
Right.
To explore, but... Because I know, like, Roman culture and stuff, it was okay when you were a boy to have sex with other boys, but it wasn't okay when you become an adult.
Yeah, like you need to settle down, have a wife, have kids, kind of thing. Because back then, there wasn't a lot of people, so it was expected to have children.
Yeah. Like, you guys realize back in the day there was still homosexual people, right? It's not a new creation.
We've been around for a very, very, very long time.
Even queens and kings, which I think I'll do a video on. There's some kings and queens that were...
Cleopatra among them.
During his career, Mercury's flamboyant stage performance sometimes led journalists to allude to his sexuality. Dave Dixon, reviewing Queen's performance at Wembley Arena in 1984 for Kerrang!, noted Mercury's camp addresses to the audience and even described him as a posing, pouting, posturing tart.
Really?
I've seen that concert. It's on YouTube. It's a pretty good concert. A tart. In case you guys don't know what tart is, very loose woman is another word.
In 1982, John Marshall of Gay Times opined, I never know how to pronounce that word. Mercury was a scene queen, not afraid to publicly express his gayness, but unwilling to analyze or justify his lifestyle. It was as if Freddie Mercury was saying to the world, I am what I am, so what? And that in and of itself, for some, was a statement.
Come on now, he ran around in a leotard.
The man wore boas. Pink ones.
He looked mighty fine in a suit, though.
Did though, didn't
In an article for After Elton, Robert Irwin said Mercury did not ally himself to political outness or to LGBT causes.
Someone continued to refer to Mercury as bisexual. According to an obituary, Mercury was a self-confessed bisexual.
I think he was.
Was.
The 2018 biopic of Mercury, Bohemian Rhapsody, received criticism for his portrayal of Mercury's sexuality, which was described as sterilized and confused, and was even accused of being dangerous.
I didn't think it was. Although he cultivated a flamboyant stage personality, Mercury was shy and retiring when not performing, particularly around people he did not know well, and granted very few interviews. Oh, yeah.
He was a very good performer.
I think that was just because he could be
As gay as he wanted to be.
anybody. He could be anybody. Because it's like acting, you know. Most actors say they play parts that are completely opposite of who they really are, because why be yourself?
And Robin Williams was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury once said of himself, "When I'm performing, I'm an extrovert, yet inside, I'm a completely different man." While on stage, Mercury basked in the love from his audience. Kurt Cobain's suicide note mentions how he admired and envied the way Mercury seemed to relish in the love and adoration from the crowd. I'll have to do it on Mercury. That's an interesting case.
Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain. Yes.
When asked by Melody Maker in 1981 if rock stars should use their power to try to shape the world for the better, Mercury responded, "Leave that to the politicians." What? I've just had my hand right here. I'm not trying to touch anything. Mercury responded, "Leave that to the politicians. Certain people can do that kind of thing, but very few. John Lennon was one. Because of his status, he could do that kind of preaching and affect people's thoughts. But to do this, you have to have a certain amount of intellect and magic together. And John Lennon's are few and far between. People with mere talent like me have not got the ability or the power."
Mercury dedicated a song to the former member of the Beatles. "The Life Is Real" song for Lennon is included in the 1982 album Hot Space.
In 1987, Mercury celebrated his 41st birthday at the Pikes Hotel, Ibiza, several months after discovering that he had contracted HIV.
I just realized he was 41 the year before I was born.
Let's see, I was 6 that year.
Yes, you're old.
Hmm?
Yes, you're old. Mercury
Bite my ass.
sought much comfort in the retreat and was a close friend of the owner, Anthony Pike, who described Mercury as the most beautiful person I've ever met in my life. So entertaining and generous.
According to biographer Leslie Ann Jones, Mercury felt very much at home there. He played some tennis, lounged by the pool, and ventured out to the odd gay club or bar at night. The birthday party.
The birthday party held on 5th of September 1987 has been described as the most incredible example of excess the Mediterranean island had ever seen. It was attended by some 700 people. God, I can't imagine being around 700 people in general. A cake in the shape of Gaudi's Sagrada Familia was provided for the party. The original cake collapsed and was replaced with 2-meter long sponge cake, decorated with the notes from Mercury's song Barcelona. The bill, which included 232 broken glasses, was presented to Queen's manager Jim Beach. 232. You imagine being so drunk and high that you break 232 glasses.
In October of 1986, the British press reported that Mercury had his blood tested for HIV and AIDS at a Harley Street clinic.
A reporter for The Sun, Hugh Widow,
I don't know.
questioned Mercury about the story at
Heathrow
Airport as he was returning from Japan. Mercury denied he had the disease. According to his partner Jim Hutton, Mercury was diagnosed with AIDS in late April 1987. Around this time, Mercury claimed in an interview to have tested negative for HIV. He didn't want to be treated different.
Right?
He just wanted to sing and do his thing.
He was afraid that people would treat him differently and stop listening to his music. His music was his life.
Back then, they were afraid to even touch people that had HIV.
The British press pursued the rumors over the next few years, fueled by Mercury's increasingly gaunt appearance, Queen's absence from touring, and reports from former lovers to tabloid journals.
By 1990, rumors about Mercury's health was rife. At the 1990 Brit Awards held in the Dominion Theatre, London, on February 18th, Mercury made his final appearance on stage, when he joined the rest of Queen to collect the Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to British Music. I've seen that. It's very sad.
Towards the end of his life, he was routinely stalked by photographers. The Sun featured a series of articles claiming that he was ill. A front page from November 1990 featured an image of a haggard Mercury with the headline, "It's official, Freddie is seriously ill."
Yeah, I've seen
Who
that
gives
too.
a flying F?
Mercury and his inner circle of colleagues and friends continually denied the stories.
They just had to put a very sick man out there like that. Like, that's just rude.
Just let the man do his job.
Yeah. If he can't sing anymore, let him die in peace. Jeez. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It has been suggested that Mercury could have helped AIDS awareness by speaking earlier about his illness. He didn't feel like he needed to do that.
It was a different time then. AIDS was like the plague. People felt as though if you breathed the same air as somebody with AIDS,
we didn't know that much about it.
And everybody thought it was a homosexual disease too, and it's just.
I mean, yeah, it spread that way, but that doesn't mean that.
I'm going to do a video on it a little bit, but just spilling the myths that people have. Mercury kept his condition private to protect those closest to him. May later confirmed that Mercury had informed the band of the illness much earlier. So he told his friends and his family.
Those were the people that mattered. Filmed in May of 1991, the music video for These Are the Days of Our Lives features a very thin Mercury in his final scenes in front of the